Alrighty guys, where I left you off in part 3, it's so big I can't fit it in guys, is the sleeves. Now you should have finished both your sleeves and weaved in the ends, and make sure they fit before you cut your thread. Yeah, make sure they fit your wrist. Alright, that's that. We are now going to move on to part 4. Now part 4 we're going to work on the actual length of our cardigan or jacket, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, Hexagon Cardigan's what I call it. All right, now I've measured mine off air, but I'm going to do it again for you here so that you can see. The average hip measurement for a jacket is between 55 centimetres and 65, all right? So if inches will be up there somewhere, inches will be right there, gorgeous. These are rough measurements, yeah? So right now, mine measures pretty much, it's not that big at all. It measures 49 centimetres, yeah, or 19 and a little bit inches. Now I need it to measure all the way up to 60 if I wanted it my length. However, this is all the yarn I have left. Well, I probably have more, but I can't find it. But there you go. That's the way it works. Now, the way it's working for me is I'm going to keep doing the next 2 rounds, which we're going to do together, over and over again until I reach a measurement that I like, plus enough yarn to make a 2-round border on our piece. Now, I'm still trying, as we speak, to work out what kind of border we're having. So what I want everyone to do right now is, there's the arm length of my piece. We are going to be working on the right side, but I'll talk about that in a minute. Pop your piece upside down. So your head is here and the base of your piece is right here. Now, when I say we're working on the right side, it depends on where you left off. Now, I'm going to show you real quickly the right and wrong side of your front. Okay, so to me it looks like I actually did my last round this way. How can I tell? That's the wrong way of my round, and I can't see the V's, they are facing down. That's the right way of my round where I can see the V's. So literally I would need to start on the base on the outside of my work. So now it depends on where you finished. If you finished with the right side this way, then you need to turn your work over and start, I don't know where we're starting from. Either side, depends on which side you start from, right? But because I'm working this way, we're starting from here, okay? You would probably need to start from, if you're on the other side, you would need to start from the right-hand side of your piece. If the right side of your work is facing you now, right? I'm going to pop my hook in the, I'll show you exactly where that is so you know. That's the base of the jacket, right? That's my left front, that's my right front. Now that depends on which side yours landed for the right side and the wrong side, but I'm working on my left front right at the base. Some of you may be working on your right front. Pop your hook right in the center stitch. Grab your thread. Now I've worked with my thread, can't you see? It's all, you know, curly. I played with it a little bit to try and work out what sort of border I'm going to use. But there you go. I still don't know yet. Don't you love it? Passing the thread forward to lock it into place. She doesn't know what she's doing, guys. Don't you love it? I'll tell you in about 2 days' time. Chain 1, 2, and 3. Grab your stitch marker and pop it in that stitch right there. Yarn over your hook. We are going to place a double crochet in the space like so. Pop your tail at the back, and then we're just going to start our cluster sets across our piece. Okay, so far all you're doing is placing a cluster set into every space you come to, and a cluster set, you know what it is. 3 double crochets in every space. She's singing now, guys. All right, she's singing because she's going to give you some instructions now. So what I'm going to do, and I can't find my stitch marker, so I'm going to take it out of here, but I'll put it back in a minute. I can't find the other blue stitch marker. All right, so here we go. What I want you to do is pop a cluster set into every space all the way across. until you get to the center of your back. All right, so pop your stitch marker around a space just before that line where we did our sewing. There's your sewing, and pop it in the little space there, or the big space if you will. All right. Sorry guys, don't place the stitch marker there. I want you to place it before we get to that section right there. All right, just the corner of that final area. All right, so continue doing your clusters all the way across. Get to your stitch marker right there, and I'll meet you there once you're done. Alrighty guys, so I have done my length all the way over to, now I did tell you to get to the actual line and then changed my mind, only because we haven't actually considered these spaces here. Alright, so let's remove the stitch marker first. Sorry about that little tail. I'm going to pop that tail in my hand. We're going to jump into the corner with 3 double crochets, 1, 2 and 3. All right, so what we have here is our 5 rows, 6 rows or 7 rows, and what we're going to do is skip every second row, or this is just going to bulk out. Yeah, so there's the first row. We're going to skip that row, jump into the next space, which is the really big space, and do 3 double crochets. So we've skipped a row and we're jumping into the next with 3 double crochets, yeah? Then we're going to skip that next row, jump into the 4th. So we've skipped row 1, did a second row, skip row 3, and now we're going to do the 4th row. Now, if you have only 5 rows, wait for us there. We're going to skip row 5. All of us are going to jump into row 6. So now if you've got row 7, I need you to do row 6 anyway. All right, for those of you who have row 7. For those of you who only have row 5 and 6, what we're going to do is we're going to skip row 5. For those of you who have row 5, you need to be in row 5. But with us now, everyone needs to do a double crochet in the very next space where the seam line is. So everyone where the seam line is, that's where you need to do your first double crochet. Now we're going to do 2 together. Yeah, pop in the space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Hold it there, yarn over your hook, jump over your seam line into the next space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Now you have 3 loops. Yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and you've closed your 2 together. Yeah, you're going to do another one in that stitch or that space right there. So actually what you've done is you've just closed that into 1. All right, and you've left a gap row between each, except for those who have the odd amount. Your spaces might differ a little bit. That's fine. Okay, that's fine. Now, for those of you who have 5 rows and 7 rows, you need to do yours set in there because it needs to marry up with the other one. Yeah. For the rest of us, skip that next row and go into the next. So every size now, skip your next row going into your next. Yeah. Skip that next row, go into the next. Skip that next row, go into the corner, and now if you have your last row, you're jumping straight into the next space. All right. Once you get to the corner, it's normal all the way through. All right. So once you get to the corner, if you find the corner is your next space, you really need to put a set in the corner. All right. So pop a set in the corner, regardless of whether you're next to your piece here, pop a set in that corner. All you're doing is placing a cluster set in every space now, all the way across your piece until you get to the very first corner you come to. Well, actually, it's the last corner you come to because we've started here, and bring that out. We've started here. We've started here, we've done all of that, we've gotten to here, we did our set space, whatever. Then we got to here. Now we're going to crochet our sets all the way across. Do the second last set right there. Meet me there in a moment and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, so this is where we started from the beginning. We went through and did our centerpiece right there, gorgeous. And then we went right up to, and I've taken my hook out, I shouldn't have, to, let's get a close up. All right, the space before the corner, okay? I want you to jump into the corner with 1 double crochet. Then I want you to remove a stitch marker for starters. I want you to pop a double crochet, but I want you to pop it in that very top, or base chain I should say, not a top chain. So base chain, and pop your double crochet in there. Turn your work chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now you would know the way these 2 rows start because this is the way we did our backs. We started one way and in one row, and in the next row we started a different way. And this is the second way, all right? So that's actually your first row, even though you've had to adjust your spaces, right? Let's not think about that. But our second row means you chain your 3, you skip this double crochet, you jump into the space with your cluster set of 3 double crochets. And then your 3 double crocheting all the way across. Can I say that? 3 double crocheting? Or your cluster setting all the way across your piece. She's so naughty, guys. Very naughty girl today. Very, very naughty. I'm only naughty because this is it, guys. This is the final part of our hexagon cardigan. Get excited. All right. So your job now, and you're going to love this job, and you're really going to love this job, is cluster set. And let's bring this out a little like that. Cluster set in every space all the way across. When you get here, right here where the join is, let's pop a stitch marker just before the join. Sorry about the lighting today, guys. I want to record this before the weekend and it's fairly late at night. So there you go. All right, so I want you to do cluster sets until you get to the center of your seam line at the back. Meet me there in just a moment and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, so here we are at the end of this side and we're very close to that center. Alright, remove your stitch marker for now. And what you have, that's the center part where you did 1 double crochet, then 2 together, and then 1 double crochet in that space. So what we need to do is the space before it, just pop your cluster set in there of 3 double crochets. Like normal, like nothing has changed. Jump over your big set and do 3 double crochets. Try not to do these too loose and don't pull it too tight. Yeah. And then jumping over the next cluster set with 3 double crochets. I don't think we've done anything different, except all we've done is jump over that set. Yeah, and the next row you won't have any jumps to do. You'll just have spaces all the way through. So I'm going to move this out the way. Let's just move that thread. And next set right there. Now these are the sets that are in every second row, but you don't have to worry about that anymore. All you have to worry about is filling up each with 3 double crochets. That is all you need to do. I don't need to show you anymore. All you need to do is cluster set. Here we go. All the way across. Get to the very next stitch marker. Meet me there and get ready for some instructions, all right? Head off on your own. Do your sets all the way across and I'll meet you there once you're done. Alrighty guys, so here we are. That was the center and then you went all the way over here and you are now officially at the end of this row. Now let's just finish off the row and then we'll talk instructions. All right, so do your last cluster set in that space, whoops, in that space right there, 2, 3, skip that double crochet and place a double crochet in the top chain of that one right there. Remove your stitch marker, turn your work, chain 1, 2 and 3, replace your stitch marker, and in the space before your cluster set you're popping 1 double crochet, skip your set and start in the very next set without splitting the yarn, doing your cluster set there, and your cluster in the very next set. All right, and pop up a loop, and we're going to get some instructions now. It's very exciting, very, very exciting. All right, let me just, I might have to transition this because I don't want to knock off the camera off the frame. Just give me a moment. All right, sorry guys, I did have to do a transition there because it's too big and it knocks the frame down. All right, so what you've done is that you have closed that area up, and how neat does it look? Looks simply divine. All right, and then you've added a tiny, tiny little bit of length. Now we're going to measure this length real quickly from the base that you've just added. Let's just give it a stretch. Not too much because you don't want to assume that you're making it too big. To the very, very shoulder top part, and I've got 51 centimeters or 20 inches. All right, if I wanted a crop top, okay, that would be great, but I don't want a crop top. I want mine to go a little bit further down just past the belly, if you will, and closer to the hips. If I find some more yarn, I'll go even lower than the hips as well. All right, so that would mean probably, what are we on? What did we say we were? 51. That would mean another 10 centimeters for me. 60 or 61 centimeters. Now remember, I'm tiny, okay? We want this to measure your length. So you measure your length, but make sure you give or take 2 or 3 centimeters because we're going to do a border round across the whole piece. So all you need to do now, and get this, is to repeat the row you just did and this row here, which actually the first 2 rows. You're repeating those 2 rows over and over again, except now all you're doing is putting cluster sets in every space. You don't have to worry about join 2 togethers. You don't have to worry about count. You just have to worry about putting sets in every space all the way across and doing the 2 row repeat. 1 row at the beginning is chain 3, skip the double crochet and put a cluster set in the first space. The next row at the beginning is chain 3, put a double crochet in the first space, skip over your cluster set and put a cluster set there. All right, so your job now is to repeat the last 2 rounds over and over again until you get to the measurement you want. And then on top of that, give another 2 rows that we're going to do as a border row, 2 to 3 rows, okay? Keep that in mind. All right, so don't forget to do these last 2 rows over and over again until you get to your measurement, and I'll meet you back here once you're done. Alrighty guys, so here I am at the end of my rounds. Now I didn't do many rounds because I'm lacking yarn. I know I've got more somewhere, but I haven't got time to find it, and I want to get this jacket out. So I'm going to make it a length that I would actually like for me. Also, don't forget that I'm fairly short. And again, we won't discuss that, right? So I made it a length to suit me. Make sure no matter what length you made that you have landed on an even round. Don't land on an odd round. Must be an even round for this round to work. Now, if you did not, this is the front of my work because I've got my stitch marker there. If you did not land on your right front with your thread here, then you must cut your work and then rethread, which is what I'm going to do. Okay, but if you're on your right front, just wait there for us while I get my scissors, wherever they may be. They're hiding on me. So I'm going to cut my thread. Make sure you're on the right side of your work before you cut. Okay, and all I did was do the last, let's have a look, the last double crochet in the top of that stitch. All right, and then just, find your thread again. Okay, I might just put my stitch marker in that stitch actually, so you know where you're going at the end. Let's get a close-up here. That stitch that we just cut the thread with. Just pop your stitch marker in there like that. All right, so now everyone needs to, that's the right front of your cardigan. Everyone needs to go to the base of the right front of your cardigan. All right, I'm going to move all this out the way. You know it's going to be the base of the right front. So this is the right front of my cardigan. Yeah, this is the base. These are the rounds that we just completed. Yeah. So what I want you to do is pop your hook in that stitch marker stitch right there. Right in that, if you can get it in. It's a little tight for me, but pop it in that stitch marker stitch. Naughty Mary. She does her crochet so tight. Naughty, naughty Mary. All right, grab your new thread and attach it. Pull a loop through like so. Pass your tail forward, chain 1, just tighten that a little bit, and then 2 and 3, and leave those nice and loose so that you can put your stitch marker in and you can find it at the end of the round. Don't you love it? All right, now yarn over your hook. You're going to put a second double crochet. We'll call it a second double crochet because you know what, we might use that part. Do your second double crochet in that space. All right, now the way it's going to be here, to stop it from being stretched, we're only going to do 1 double crochet in one row, 2 in the next, 1 in one, 2 in the next, that sort of thing. So your very next row is here. That's the rows that we did earlier, right? So in this next space, you find one area and just do 1 double crochet in the space. All right, there. In the next row, you're going to do 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. And in the very next, you're doing 1. All right, so what I want you to do is to do 1, 2, 1, 2, all the way until you get to the corner that you first started in, which is on the other side, but this corner here, right? So get to that very next corner. Now mine's short because, well, I'm doing my jacket short, but you might have another 6. So you need to do 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 until you get to this last space before your corner. Once you get to your corner, you're doing 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. All right, like that. Now this is where it changes. From here, you're going to do a double crochet in every stitch. Now double, treble UK, double US, yeah? So you go into the stitch, doing a double crochet. Not a space, a stitch. Double into the stitch, and that's the 2 loops on top. And I'll show you that stitch real closely so you can see, because we've not been working in stitches. So it's that little space you see there with the 2 loops, you're doing your double crochets in. All right, so double crochet into every stitch, every stitch, until you get to the top of your hexagon cardigan. All right, and that's top where, let me show you exactly, until you get to, oh gosh, it's really big. It's so big, guys, so big. Until you get to the very top here, around here somewhere. All right, so let me pop a stitch marker there for you. All right, so we're going to pop a stitch marker, I don't know, in the, we'll do it in the space just before that corner area. All right, So that is, and I'll show you a little, I'm trying to bring the camera out as far as I can. It's really big, the piece. So that goes all the way down this way, a double crochet in every stitch, get to that last space before your seam line area, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. All right, head off on your own, do your double crochets all the way across, and I'll meet you there once you're done. Alrighty guys, so I've done my double crochets all the way across. I don't know if I explained myself properly here. The reason we were doing 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 all the way across in that shorter area is that this area tends to stretch a lot. So we noticed that quite a few months ago when I showed you the very first cardigan that I was halfway through. Now that cardigan, I'm undoing those rounds, so that doesn't affect you. So it was very stretchy and it was literally pulling down at the base, and it kind of went like this. Everything was straight here, and then at the base it kind of went like that. And that's because this area stretched from having too many stitches. So if you were to put 3 double crochets in every round, by the time you got here, it would be like stretching out. All right, so I asked you to get to, and I've got a big mess of yarn here, so let's hope it doesn't knot, to get to this area right here. Now, it's a little tricky, this area. Everyone in their own cardigans will be a little different. So I'm just going to put my double crochet into the stitch that's there, into the very next stitch that's there. Now, what I should have is this area here. Again, it's a little tricky. There's many ways you can do this. You can do a double crochet in the space or even in the stitch. If you find it easier to go into the chain stitch, you do the double crochet there. But when you get to this section here, that all needs to close up. It depends on where you are on your piece, right? This is the corner of our neck. We need to close that up so it's not like that, but we don't want it pulling either. So that's why I did the double crochet in the last stitch. I'm going to do a double crochet 2 together in the work that's there. Like there might be like a little loop that's there. I'm going to try and get into 2 stitches if I can. It doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do that, but I'll try. Like so. There we go, 2 stitches. Pull a loop through, 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over my hook. Straight into the space there, you're going to complete the stitch by starting a new one, pulling through 2 loops. And then you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops together. That's double crochet 2 together. All right. So I'm going to pop another double crochet in that corner, all in that corner space. So you've got your 2 together and 1 in there as well. Then we're going across here and we're doing 1 double crochet, 2 into the next, 1 and 2. This is like the sides of our work that we just did down the base. This is the back of our neck here. 1 into the next, 2 into your next, like so. 1 and 2. No matter where you are in your piece, if you've got 1 in there or 2 in there, if you had to put 2 in there, don't put the second one. We're going to do that now. If you're in your 1 section like that, you're still going to put a second one in there. But we're all going to do 2 together across this seam line area because we want to make sure that's firm and not going to be stretched, yeah? So start your double crochet in the same space that you are in. Pull a loop through, 2. Yarn over your hook, jump over your seam line into the next space. Start another stitch like normal, pull through 2. Now you've got 3 left, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. I'm going to pop another double crochet in that space there, and that's classified as my 2. And then I'm going to start back and do 1, 2, and it doesn't matter if they don't marry up which round you put the 2 in or the 1 in. Just make sure it's 1, 2 or 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 all the way, or 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 all the way. So I'm on my second. Now I'm going to do 1. And 2. And 1 into there. Now, if you're already at your corner space where I am, if you were there before, you could have just waited for us there, all right? So what I'm going to do here is pretty much the same thing we did on the other side. I'm going to do a double crochet 2 together into the space, pull a loop through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2. Hold it there, yarn over your hook, into that little kind of stitch there, pull a loop through, 4 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, 3 loops left, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Yarn over my hook, I'm going to jump directly into a stitch that's right there. It's a bit stretched, but it's there for me, only because my thread is attached. We'll just move that out of the way and do a normal double crochet. Double crochet in the next stitch and the next, and so on all the way down until you get to the base of this side of your work. All right, and let's have a look what we've done. I'm going to bring it out now and show you. You won't be able to see it otherwise. So that's pretty much what you've done with your back. You have kind of closed that back edge up a little bit, so it's not really loose, but it's not pulling really tight. If that's pulling really tight, you may have to add an extra stitch, but you shouldn't, because it's made this way to have 2, 1, 2 all the way through. All right, so you've got your 2, 1, 2 all the way through. Now this is where we are. Let's bring that out again. You need to do your double crochets all the way down and get to, and I'm going to place my stitch marker in the corner. Do you remember the, let's get a close up. Do you remember the corner on the opposite side right there, and then you did your next rounds on the base of your work? Get to that corner, not the end, just get to that corner, and I'll talk about what we're going to do once you get there. In the meantime, just double crochet all the way across, get to your corner right there, and I'll meet you there once you're done. Alrighty guys, so what you've done so far is you started down here, you've gone all the way up around the neck edge, you've come all the way down to, give me one moment to turn all this around, you've come down to this stitch marker here, which I asked you to get to the corner of your work. Yeah, let's just bring this up a little, and there's the corner. Now I haven't completed my last cluster set before the corner. I'll give you another close-up. All right, so 1, 2, 3 double crochets in my last section. So you're doing 1, 2, and 3 double crochets. So if you can't remember what went next and you can't work it out on the other side, just know that the first row was 2, 1, 2, and 1. And then the corner, 2 double crochets in the corner, 1 and 2, and we are now going back to the 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, so find this first row here, 1 in there, 2 in the next, 1 and 2, and then 1 in your second last. Over here, we've got this. Now, mine's a little bit, I've got my little thread loose there. So normally we would be putting 2 there, and we still are, but we're going to place 1 there. And 1 in the stitch that I cast off. I don't know whether you've cast off, but I cast that off there. So we're going to pop. I have to tighten it up a little because the knot's not knotted properly. So I'm going to put 1 into that stitch, but I'm going to place my thread, if you've got one, at the back. All right, so complete your double crochet. That's just to lock that thread into place. Yeah. Then you're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and you're going to avoid that stitch that we worked in. You're going to put 2 double crochets in this space right here, the same space you're in. So 1 and 2. All right, so what you've done here is you've turned your corner. Yes, now we want to work on the stitches along here. So all you're going to do is do a double crochet into every stitch like you did here. So the very first one is there. You can see your post is here, and so your stitch is right on top. Do 1 double crochet in that stitch, 1 into your next, 1 into your next, and so on all the way across the back of your piece. So this is where I said you're going to end up with an extra 2 centimeters longer than your piece would have been. So to stop 2 centimeters less. It's around 2 or 3 depending on the sizing of your stitching. So guess what? This is the easy bit, guys. Your job now, before we go, place a stitch marker in that corner. Sorry guys, I should have got you to do that. Place a stitch marker in the corner that we just completed. Right there, where you got your 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. So really in the chain 2 space, yeah? All right, so now what you're going to do, easy, but still going to take a long time, double crochet into every stitch all the way across the base of your piece. Get to your very first stitch that you created with your stitch marker. I don't think I put it in the chain at all, but anyway, I think I've got one loop there. So get to your very first stitch that you created. Wait for me there, and we will talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, so where you should be right now is the base of your work, yeah, and I asked you to get to that stitch marker, which I haven't gone completely all the way across, not for any reason. I just wanted to show you that last cluster set. We're doing 1 double crochet, obviously, in each stitch across, 2 and 3. And when we get to that corner space where we've already got our 2 double crochets in there from the beginning, we're going to pop another 2 double crochets in the corner. 1 and 2. And then we're going to chain 1 and 2 and slip stitch in that badly placed stitch marker. Slip stitch into the chain of the top chain of your, wherever that is, there it is. Like that. Pull a loop through and pull it through to the loop on your hook. Yes? Then you are chaining 1, 2 and 3. Replace your stitch marker there. Jump back into the corner space with a double crochet. Just 1, like so. So you're literally going over, if you think about it, you're crossing past your chains that you just made. Yeah? Let me get you close up so you can see what I did there. I'll do it again so you can see. So that's your chain 3, yarn over your hook, jumping past your chain 3 into the space, pull a loop through. Don't make this stitch too loose because it'll be noticeable. Pull a loop through 2, pull a loop through the last 2. So it's just you've gone over your chain spaced area. Now we're going to continue along here doing double crochets for the next round. However, we have to make sure, even though we're already in this top chain there, we have to make sure we put a double crochet in that top chain. It's a little tight, but it's there. So pop a double crochet in the tight chain, like so. A double crochet into your very next stitch. And that was your 2 double crochets from the corner from below. All right, so make sure you are putting that double crochet in that top chain and then 1 into the stitch and then 1 into every other stitch, which is super easy now. Yeah, all you have to do is keep putting double crochets, whoops, don't lose your stitch, all the way across your piece. There you go. All right, so we're doing 1 more round, super easy, double crochet in every stitch, but I want you to get to that top edge again, right up the top where we did our 2 together. If I can get the cardigan to fit in. It's really big now, guys, sorry. There's our, I'll show you close up. That was our double crochet, and there's another double, and this one here is your 2 together into 1. So you'd know it, it's a wider stitch. So just pop your stitch marker in that wide stitch there. All right, get to that stitch marker there. So you are doing double crochets all the way across. Get to the top of that section there. Meet me there in a moment and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, so I asked you to get all the way up to the top. Let's get a close up. It's so big now guys, I've almost knocked the frame down twice. Don't you love it? Alright, here we go. Okay, I have a double crochet, a couple of double crochets beforehand, 1 and 2. Alright, so here all we're going to do, and this was just so simple, is just put a double crochet in the space. Easy. Jump into the next stitch. And your next. And you guessed it, your very next, like so. So all you did is went around the corner, really, or around the bend. She went around the bend. Here in Australia, going around the bend means you're going a little bit crazy. She's going around a bend. A little bit of trivia there. All right, so double crochet in every stitch until you get to that 2 together again. And there's one more. Or is there more? I don't know where I am. There it is. And you can see how all of that looks all squashed together underneath, but the top stitch right there looks like a normal stitch. So you're in that normal stitch, you want to go into the next normal stitch, doing your double crochet. So all you've done is you just double crocheted into every stitch up the top. You didn't have to do anything different for the neck edge, but I want to keep going because I want to get to that other join as you go. Join 2 together. Where do you get join as you go from? All right, they're very similar sounds. They don't mean anything. All right, so keep going. We're almost there. Are we there? Are we there yet? Did we pass it? Oh, we're there. Two stitches away. Hello. I don't know what I'm looking at, guys. Here we are. I don't know what happened there. I'm just looking out into the midst. Okay, so that's the stitch. There's your 2 together here, right? So all you're doing is your double crochet. All you have to do is face your stitches to you and go into every stitch. Don't worry about what it looks like underneath the stitch. Just worry about going into every stitch. And that's the 2 together right there. Into the stitch, and into the next stitch. And guess what? You've passed that double crochet 2 together around the neck edge as well. So that's where the shoulder seam is, and that's where your 2 together was. All right. Double crochet all the way down, get to that corner, that first corner, it's actually the second corner, get to that corner right there, meet me there, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. All right. Double crochet, it's falling off the table. Double crochet all the way across, get there, and I'll meet you there once you're done. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of this side. Very, very easy, yeah? What we're going to do, I haven't finished my last 2 double crochets. So do your 2 double crochets. Now these are the ones that are in the corner, but you're still doing them, yeah? Then you're jumping into the corner with 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Oops. Chain 2 and 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Remove your stitch marker, just replace it in there for the moment. Okay, this thread has been so splitty because I've been working with it. Don't you love it? All right, and then once again you're doing your 2 double crochets across, but here you need to pop your first one in there. All right, so that's 1, that's in that stitch tucked into the corner, 2, and oops, let's try that again. Hello, 2, and then you're just jumping across the way and doing your normal double crochets. All right, it's super easy, this round. It's the same round as before. Really, that's all it is, but we're not doing 2 double crochets together in our corners anymore, all right? So all you're doing is completing this round right here get up to the corner. Oh gosh, it's so big. No, now this is the base, sorry, this is the base edge. So you're completing this row all the way across, all the way across, it's the base of the edge, so it's really big, until you get to the very first corner that we started with, all right? So continue in that manner, get to that first corner, and I will meet you there once you're done. Alrighty guys, so I asked you to get to your very first stitch marker, yes? So, what do I have? I have another double crochet left. Make sure you pop your double crochets into those last two that are in the space, the corner space. Then you want to put 2 double crochets in the corner space, 1 and 2. And now we're going to chain 2. 1 and 2, and slip stitch into the top of the stitch with that stitch marker, or where the stitch marker is. Remove your stitch marker for a moment. Start the corner again. Chain 1, 2 and 3. Pop your stitch marker in there. Let's try that again. Here we go. All right, and now you're going to double crochet in the same space. Remember, we are crocheting over our chain 3 and into the same space with a double crochet. Yes, and to start the round, we're going to make sure we don't miss this chain 3 stitched area. So we're doing a double crochet in the top of that chain 3. Now I know we've already slip stitched into it, but we're going to put a double crochet in there as well. So straight into that stitch that we are already into with 1 double crochet, and then double crochet into every stitch all the way across. Yet again. The very, very easy part of this tutorial is to repeat this round that we did all the way around. One more time, meet me back here and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, now mine is upside down, just so that I can finish off this round. But you know what? I'm not just finishing off the round. I'm finishing off your hexagon, my hexagon, our hexagon cardigans. Yay! Get excited, guys. So what I've got here is, it's so big now, it's in the way all the time, is 2 double crochets left in the space, or 1 and 2. Chain 1, and this is the last stitch there, 2. No, this is actually the last stitch. You pop your hook in your stitch, pull a loop through, pull it through to the loop on your hook, pull up a loop, don't cut it yet. And the reason is I want you to try your cardigan on. Just check this out real quickly. All right, so as you can see here, you have both your cardigans standing side by side. Now, one of them obviously is fairly short. That's mine, and the reason is because, as you know, I was running out of yarn. I do have more yarn, but I don't know if it's the same dye lot, and I don't want to mix dye lots, so I'm cutting mine short. All right, I don't really want it that long anyways, but the one sitting right next to me on the mannequin, that actually is the size that the actual lady who I'm making it for has asked me for. That's not the exact size that it should be for her size. She actually wanted it that long. Okay, so hers is actually quite long, which is fine because, like I said before, when you were creating your rows here, you were making them as long as you wanted them to go. So when I said before yours should be roughly between 60 and, or was it 55 and 60 centimetres, that is pretty much your choice to have kept going, okay? Which is why you see with the grey one right there, that's actually made with, I think, 12 rows or 10 rows. I can't remember exactly. I think it was about 10 or 12 rows more than what mine is. Mine is only, what did we say mine was? I think it was 4. 1, 2, 3. Hang on, let's try this way. There it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, mine was 4 rows only, which made it very short. It's made this length only 56 centimetres. That's including our border rounds, yeah? But with this grey one that you see right here, that one there is probably about 67 or 68. It was an unusual number and an unusual size because the lady who wanted her cardigan that long. So you had a choice before you got to the end of this round to make it that long. Now, have a look at the way it fits on me in front. If yours is really loose and falling off your shoulders, do a couple of more of these double crochet rounds, okay? 1 or 2 rounds, right? If it fits you perfectly, then you stop here with us like this. We grab our scissors and we go, yeah. Make sure you check it before you do all of that. I checked mine off air, so that's okay. Pull your loop through, remove your stitch marker, and you are going to do just this. You're going to weave in your end for the very last time. So hopefully you have weaved in, that didn't even work, hopefully you've weaved in other ends or your other ends, because once we weave in this end, it will be it. All right, so bear that in mind. Now this is the right, where are we? This is the right side of my work, so I want to make sure that end gets weaved in at the back. So what we want to do here is simply this. You could have used the fancy join where you don't see a knot. I'm not going to bother, because once you grab your needle and you pop it in the chain just before your stitch that you just pulled the loop through, once you do that, you pull it through, that knot kind of sits into into the rest of your work. It's not even in the frame there. Kind of sits into the rest of your work here. Then you can do just this. You can, not even in front, you know why? Because this is way too close. Let's bring it out a bit, that's better. Then you can actually just go through, you're in this loop. Yes, you're in this loop here. So you can go through the next loop, just down the base of the loop. Make sure you can't see the needle from the front, yeah? All right, so go down the base of that second chain, if you will, in the corner. Then you drop into a stitch beneath the next stitch. Make sure you can't see the needle from the front. Good. It doesn't really matter. It's not that noticeable because the yarn is the same colour. And then you go into the next stitch there. Pull that through. Now I've actually gone down a stitch in this situation because there's nowhere to weave up the top. So here, once I get down here, I can start weaving this tail inside these double crochets here. All right. Being careful, if you pull it too tight, I'm going to do it, but I don't want you to do it. That's going to happen. All right, so don't pull it too tight. Oh, naughty Mary. And if you don't pull it tight enough, you're going to have loops here. So make sure that the tension is just right. Then you're going to split a little bit of yarn here. I'll just split a little tiny bit and go into the other 2 double crochets, or 3 or whatever they are. There's 2, not 3. 2 double crochets across under the loops of your stitch. Yeah, you could even go further up this way, further down. I'm not going to. I'm just going to keep going through this little space here, and I'm going to split some yarn yet again. And this is like the 3rd time. So I think once, twice, yeah, this is the 3rd time. So I think that will do. I was thinking maybe I'll do another one because I'm a little paranoid that this is the last thread. Oh no, it's really tight. I'm going to leave it there. All right, so that, my dears, cutting our thread right here, is the end of that. And you have completed your hexagon cardigan, and right now it just looks like a corner. Okay, so check it out. Ta-da! Very nice, very nice. Here's our beautiful hexagon cardigan, and she's doing a whole lot of showing off again as we speak. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I can't really show you the cardigan here on the channel because it's a little difficult to show you close up here, but at least you can see me wearing it, which is probably better because you can see what it looks like on. And I tried on the other one, but it's lovely and small for me, so it's not going to fit, sadly. But we won't talk about that. Maybe one day I'll be able to fit something like that. There you go. Now, a quick heads up, the grey cardigan that you see there was put together differently. It was totally different than the way we've put ours together. Okay, so the back was crocheted together, and the sleeves were actually sewn together exactly the same way we did, except I didn't make a mistake on her sleeves, so that's good. But the actual back was crocheted together. I did not sew that together. I wanted to try it. I didn't like it, so I did the sewing together one. But even that, I'm not really keen on the sewing when it comes to the Hexagon cardigan. So maybe the crocheted together may have looked just as good. Maybe one day we'll work on the crochet together one, just for fun. But not now, guys. Firstly, I want to thank you very much for joining us creating our beautiful Hexagon cardigan. Don't forget to, here she goes being silly again. Don't forget to join us on our lives at 4 p.m. Wednesday afternoons, 10 a.m. Saturday mornings in Melbourne, Australia time. And also note that I'm going to be doing a video vlog soon, just discussing what's going to happen on the channel and what hasn't happened on the channel as of yet over the next week or so. All right, thank you for joining us. My name is Mary and this is Wow Crochet Designs, and ciao for now.